Welcome back. As you could see on the screen there, Olushola Adewole, partner, people and organization advisory leader at PricewaterhouseCoopers, is joining me right now. Mr. Adewole, good to see you and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Nancy.
How are you doing, Mr.
Happy to be here.
Yes, good to have you. We're talking about the global workforce in a challenging environment. And I have your report here with me. The PwC conducted a survey, Global Workforce Hopes and Fears Survey 2022. I would want to know why that survey was even conducted in the first place.
All right. Thank you very much, Nancy. I mean, at the risk of blowing our trumpet, PwC is at the forefront of trying to find out what the trends are with the workforce. We are very big on things that have to do with employability, the role of people in organizational success. And so we decided to conduct that survey. We started about 3 years ago. This is the third edition. As we entered the COVID era, so to speak, we knew clearly that as we began to return to work, that the demands and the expectations of the people and the concerns of the people was something were things to bear in mind. So that's why we conducted that survey, and we wanted to find out what the people, the workforce were feeling, what they were concerned about, and therefore provide necessary data for organizations to know how to pivot their strategies as far as people are concerned.
Now, if we take a look at the report, I tried as much as possible to go through it. It's talking about the Great Resignation and, of course, part of the content, the Great Resignation. What are the implications of this Great Resignation? The implications on businesses, if you really look at it, and why do you even think that we're seeing a great resignation at this time? You know, when I was going through this report, a lot of things were going through my head, that if you take a look at what's happening globally, is it because we've seen a lot of helicopter money, at least from 2020, government giving free money to people for households and for businesses, so a lot more people want to do their own thing? Is that what is stirring that great resignation?
Well, on the contrary, I mean, I don't think that is the case because, as you very well know, in the developed economies where there was plenty of giveaway for people who are not able to go into work during the COVID era, that has stopped. And almost everywhere you go now, we still have employers who are not just reporting people leaving, they are struggling to even have ordinary, to have blue-collar jobs applicants even coming to work. I think what happened, and I'll answer it in two parts, because you asked, first of all, what are the implications of business? So I'll take that second, but then you talked about, why people are doing this. I think one of the things that happened to every one of us when COVID hit and, we had to spend spend time at home and then quality time with our families. And then we saw people dying, rather suddenly. Is that people had enough time to introspect and to ask themselves, I need work that is fulfilling. Should I just be doing this as part of the rat race? You suddenly had mothers who are spending more time with their children and having to, some of them, homeschool the children. We had families spending more time together. So people began to realign their priorities, things around their well-being in the workplace, and stuff like that. And then people began to explore their options. So for example, today you have people who are saying, even if I don't want to go to work, after spending close to a year or more at home, with the advent of technology, I've discovered other ways to make money without necessarily going to 9 to 5. So a sudden self-realization of the meaning of life, and why am I working and whether I'm being well paid or not is a realization. But lastly, to the question around implications for business, as you can imagine, the Great Resignation, with the word big great, with the word great being the emphatic word there, is a threat to achievement of business goals. PwC has always been at the forefront of conversations on the future of work. And even as we did research over the last 5-7 years on the future of work, we found out that people were central, even with technological advances. There's also the erosion of culture. Culture, they say, eats strategy for breakfast. And, as people leave and you try to bring in new people, your culture is being rarefied. And then, of course, there's a big question about shortage of skills. As we found in our survey, a lot of our smart, specialized, scarce skills are going out and going global. So that itself is a major implication for business.
And from your report, you're saying that the Great Resignation is not showing signs of slowing down. Should employers be worried?
Absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, they should be worried. I mean, because, the Great Resignation, we found out that up to 20% of the workforce, particularly in the 18 to 25 Gen Z range, which is, if you like, the future of the organization, don't plan to remain in the same workplace over the next 12 months. So that is an existential crisis for business. Culture is, if you don't have the right culture, then you can't get things done. So businesses should be worried because, their strategic objectives will be threatened. And people are asking for things that I'm not sure that organizations are ready and able to provide all of it in the era that we're in.
Now let's break it down amongst the age categories. The baby boomers, who are between 58 and 76, the Gen X workers, the ages of 42 to 57. We have the millennial workers, 26 to 41, and the Gen Z workers, like you said earlier, between the ages of 18 and 25. I would like you to break it down, really, because what I'm seeing here from your report is like the Gen Z workers are those that, are resigning the most.
Yes. So, I think there are many factors that speak to the different demographic groups. So let us start with the Gen Z that we talked about. These are, and even the millennials, who are the focus for many years. Now we are moving to the 18 to 25s, as the millennials also become 26 to 41. These are people that we will typically call digital natives, right? And being digital natives comes with a whole lot of implications. So they are more technology savvy. They know what is happening all over the world. They're very aware. So they're aware of their options. I mean, if you think about how the war for talent has gone global now, and people can sit in their offices, in their homes here, and not only work from home for a company in Canada or in the US, but those companies are even willing to relocate them, obviously to bring them to their workforce. So they are very mobile. They're very technologically advanced. The Gen Z obviously are even more so. We found out that 27% of them are the ones that, the people we surveyed, they have the highest number of people who are willing to up and go. And then, of course, it reduces, and that's understandable because baby boomers, Gen X's, as you call them, have deeper roots in the nation and in their environment. So they are not likely to just up and go. But I think the point I want to emphasize here is the technology part. The millennials and the Gen Zs who form the majority of the migrating or the exiting organization, their attention span is short. They live by trends. So if you have an organization, if you're an employer of labor that is not technology savvy, if you don't have what we call the concept of good work, smart work, where your people can work with technology easily, then you're not likely to be an attractive employer. And that's a major cause of attrition in the millennial and Gen Z worker group. Obviously, as you grow older and as you reach the top of your career, you talk about pyramid organizations. It's not as easy to up and go. So that's the challenge that we face. But again, if you want to build the organization for the future, obviously you want to build it around the millennials and the Gen Z workers, because they've got the energy, they've got the strength, they've got the innovation, they've got new perspective. And then, of course, the larger population in the nation is over 65% or people below the age of 40. So if you want to reach the marketplace, you've got to match, you've got to have the right kind of people engaging even in your organization.
Where does Nigeria stand in all of this? Because I know when I looked at your report, the survey was around countries around the world, or even continents, Africa, Asia, and all of that, though we saw not so many people from Africa. But where is Nigeria in the whole of this equation?
It's interesting, how we always, we tend to forget that, number one, the world has gone global, so to speak. So direct answer to your question, Nigeria was one of 5 major countries in Africa that were part of this survey. And we had quite a few corporate organizations in Nigeria in their hundreds, industry leaders, industry players who provided responses to this. So a lot of this data is very representative. And obviously, in fact, as I read some of the data, I said to myself, this is really just confirming what those of us in business already know and experience in organizations. But that aside, I think that one of the things that technology has done is that it had really reduced or brought down those barriers that we always had and said, oh, this doesn't apply in Nigeria, this is America, this is that. I mean, the walls have become very thin. If you go to the United States, for example, or even in Europe, you would find, Nigerian music trending and vice versa. So we are influencing those economies, and then they are also influencing us. Some of the trends around diversity and inclusion, a lot of things that are happening in Nigeria today are direct imports. I mean, we have children go to school, young people going to school abroad. I know quite a number of people who work in Nigeria who have gotten jobs right from their desks to move to Canada or to the US or to Europe. So while we have data that represents Nigeria here, but the reality is that a lot of the trends, the major trends around the Great Resignation, for example, is a global trend. The need for skills, digital skills, is a global trend. It affects you wherever you are, and you can't exempt yourself because you're in Africa. And so the earlier we engage with the world, the better.
Let's take a look at the pressure on pay now, because that was also quite significant in this survey, the pressure on pay, among other things that employees really want: fulfillment and the authenticity in the workplace. I would also like you to take a look at perhaps gender differences and pressure on pay, because it seems that women do not even ask for more, even when they deserve it, than the male folk. I just also want to put this by the side. Which sector has more pressure on pay? So 3 questions in one. God help you that you can do that in 3 minutes, because I'm also watching my time.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Nancy. So, the pressure on pay, I'll start with that. It's a big issue. And what makes it even a bigger issue for business is the fact that the global economies also suffered a big hit, including Nigeria. We all know what has happened to the exchange rates in the last year or two. So people are asking for more money because the prices of things have just gone up, but businesses aren't doing as well as they did. Businesses have struggled in the last year or two. So that is a big, big issue. So how are businesses responding to it? As we found out, you asked the question of what shall I say, specialties are most impacted. We found out that the biggest pressure on pay is from, again, understandably, the tech sector. So people in tech, in technology, people who have the scarce, specialized skills in technology are the ones who are putting the greater pressure. And I have to start, first of all, that I have to backtrack and remind you that it is pervasive. Everybody is asking for more money because we realize that, life has become more expensive. But to your question, the technology people are asking for more. Again, maybe understandably, in Nigeria and across the world, the public sector has been the less pressured, but nonetheless also pressured. I mean, I know for a fact that a couple of governments in Nigeria are currently reviewing a couple of government organizations in Nigeria are currently reviewing what they pay their people. We may see some uptick in that. But lastly, to the point about women, interestingly, we found out that while the world continues to demand for diversity and inclusion and all of that, we find out that a lot of, the female gender are not as aggressive as we would expect in terms of pressure to pay. Again, there are many factors that could be responsible for this that we won't bother to go into today, but that is the fact. But the flip side of that, of course, is that we now have, if you combine what happened during COVID with the fact that the women folk are not necessarily asking for more money, we now actually have more women who are quitting their jobs. They are actually quite significant as far as the Great Resignation is concerned, because they're like, we have some of them who are married who are saying, the husbands are saying, I don't want you to go back to work. I've seen how well you did with the family, so I'm going to pay you. I'm going to support you in starting your business and running it digitally and all of that stuff. So yes, I think we can support them, in that. And what many organizations are doing are actually making it easier for the female gender or even spouses generally to come back to work, and that is very commendable.
So fantastic. You were able to do that at least in 3 minutes. Let me give you another 3 minutes, because we'll have about 5 minutes to the end of this show, to talk about the political and social issues in workplace. That was also quite interesting for me when I read your report, that discussions about political and social issues are an everyday feature in the workplace, especially now in Nigeria that we have all the attention in the political space. Then I would also like you to talk about the future of hybrid work. Is that future really feasible in Nigeria? Because at least we've seen a lot more people come back to the offices. Was it last week or so, Elon Musk did say that if his staff do not come back to the office, they should consider themselves, gone and all of that. He's been tweeting quite a lot, and even some global organizations, not even just Tesla, some other global organizations have told their staff to come back to work. So what really is the future of hybrid work in Nigeria? Then lastly, skills gap in Nigeria, we have it. I've been speaking with a lot of business owners in the last couple of months, and the problem really is about, some people will tell me, Nancy, there are jobs, but we don't have employable young people to fill in. And the people we also have are not taking their jobs seriously.
Thank you, Nancy. Again, 3 questions. I'll start with what for me is my favorite, which is the question around skills. I think that as a nation, and there are nations that have taken this head on, as a nation, the question of having employable skills is something we can't run away from. I'm aware that Lagos State government, Edo State government, and a couple of other governments are actively investing in youth employability and skills. And then, of course, organizations. One of the things we found out in our survey actually is that, close to half of the millennial generation and then Gen Z generation are concerned that their organizations and employers are not investing sufficiently in upskilling. And that is worrisome, because not only will they lose the people, they will find it difficult to compete as technology advances. So we can't run away from that. True point, there is huge unemployment, but organizations are looking for people with skills. Very, very, very crucial. So both as an individual, as an organization, as a nation, we need to invest in skills, particularly digital skills and even soft skills that make digital happen. Second question around hybrid working. I don't think we can run away from it. I mean, we've all discovered the amazing benefits of remote working. You have no idea where I'm calling you from at this moment in time, but people are able to function whichever part of the world that they are in. So we've discovered benefits. In years past, banks and organizations all over will fly people every week to come and have a meeting. Now, but with the Zoom call with Google Meets or Microsoft Teams or whatever, you can get on, bring everybody on board and maximize tools that we've always had that were underutilized, and therefore be more cost efficient and divert those resources. There's also the question around real estate that we've invested in. that is now available because more and more people are going hybrid. Of course, if you talk about Elon Musk and all the other people who are complaining, I'm also one of them. I believe that there's a balance, and that's why I pitch my tent, and we pitch our tent with hybrid working. The fact that work where suits you, and that's part of the authenticity you spoke about earlier. So it's not about showing up your face in the workplace. That's not what makes you effective, but the ability to show up when you're required and deliver great work wherever you are. For Nigeria, one of the biggest challenges, of course, is infrastructure, internet infrastructure. The good news is that we can see a lot of investments going in that area. We've had major foreign direct investment in that is helping us to upgrade internet technology. So we're going to see more and more of that because there are benefits either way. And there are people who are asking now, if you don't offer hybrid working, then I'm not going to work for you. So in the war for talent, organizations are the wiser if they offer that. Finally, I think it's so close home to talk about how we are interested in organization. People are getting more interested in the politics and societal things happening around them, because again, one of the things that COVID showed all of us is that we live in a very political world, and what happens in China can affect what happens in downtown Damaturu. So everybody is now concerned increasingly. So organizations need to create safeguards to make sure that those conversations that are already going on anyway don't snowball into negative impacts. But you can't stop it. So if you try to stop people from having political conversations, then you are you're going against the grain of authenticity and having diverse perspectives at work. So we realized that we need to be a part of what is happening in our world and won't have those conversations. So that's what we found.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adewole. We've really covered your report, because going on through now, every section of your report has been covered with this interview. So thank you very much for speaking to us from God knows where you're calling, but on the screen we put Lagos and just like you said, hybrid work. So only God knows where you are speaking to us from, but that's the future, or that's actually the present now. It's no longer the future. I'm here in our Abuja studios, and I'm talking to you from God knows where you are. All right. So thank you very much for joining us today. Hope to speak to you soon.
All right. Thank you very much, Nancy. Have a good one. Bye.
All right. I've been speaking with Olushola Adewole, who is the Partner People and Organization Advisory Leader at PricewaterhouseCoopers. You can hear it if you're an employer and you're an employee. But that's the much we can take on today's edition of the program. Thank you all for your company. Please keep me company again tomorrow, this time on this channel. Be the best you can be and be the change that you want to see. I am Nancy Naji. Bye now.